Hello and welcome to the video version of my journal. I'm Steffanie Rivers. Come on into the conversation. You might be watching on one of several platforms. I am multicasting on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So you could be watching on any of those platforms, on whatever platform you're watching. We want to welcome you to the conversation. So, what are we talking about tonight? Well, some right wing Republicans want campus protesters to get worse treatment from law enforcement than the January 6th insurrectionists. That's not right. And that's what we're talking about tonight. So, if you have ever raised a child or been a teacher or have anything to do with children, you know that most of the time you spend half of your time teaching them to walk and talk. The other half you teach them, you want them to shut up and sit down. So, it seems that a lot of politicians, a lot of politicians want for the college students to shut up and sit down right about now after all those Israeli Palestinian war protests that are popping up all over the country on college campuses. Now, regardless of your Israeli Palestinian stance, using local law enforcement to restore order on college campuses like they're the National Guard is going too far, in my opinion. And this is my journal, so and definitely meeting college students and other campus protesters with more force than the Capitol Police did the January 6th insurrectionists. It clearly showed that they were using deadly force. They were acting with malice. They were attempting to harm. It says more about those right wing podcasters and politicians than it does about those campus protesters. Now, one person, he is a podcaster, his name is Mark Levin. He tweeted that law enforcement should, he said, and this is a quote, they should round up, just deport those who are here on student visas, arrest all the others and put their names out there, their photos out there, so everyone knows who not to hire. Now, he said, make sure that they receive no student loan forgiveness or other federal funding of any kind. Now, since he wants to publicize people's names and pictures, let's go ahead and put Mark Levin's picture up here so we can see who he is. This is Mark Levin, the podcaster, who is probably spent most of his time around January 6th defending the insurrectionists. And now he wants to basically boycott, or he wants to basically ban, what's that word? I can't think of the word all of a sudden. But he wants to put the people who are doing protests, make them pay for it for the rest of their lives. So even though college protesters are tax-paying citizens, they have constitutional rights, including freedom of speech and freedom of assembly. Um, some people don't like that, and they want to blackball that was the word I was looking for. And now he wants to blackball, and others like him, they want to blackball a whole generation just because their political views are different. So let me know how you feel. Do you feel that the college protests went too far? And if so, you can tweet. I'm looking at my chat right now. If you haven't already, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so that when I post new videos, you'll be the first to know. Now, it's people like this dude Levin that will pontificate all day long trying to protect insurrectionists who threaten members of Congress, damaged property, and attacked Capitol Police in the name of patriotism. Make it make sense. You can't make it make sense. So don't even worry about it. It was just a phrase I put at the end, okay? Because it just can't happen. Now, that leads me to another story that proves how some people, let me get rid of him. So that leads me to another story about how some people, they're all about being tough on crime until the criminals or alleged criminals look like them. Then it's a different story about being tough on crime. So I don't know if you've seen this, but I'm going to show you this lady, and you let me know if you have seen her before. Let's see. This is District Attorney, let me get her name right. This is District Attorney Sandra Dorley. She is the District Attorney in Monroe County, New York. That's in Webster, New York. And in this case, Monroe County DA Sandra Dorley, she admitted that she broke the law, but she didn't care. She said that, and I'm going to show you the video. And she went as far as to call the police chief to tell the police chief to tell the cop who was trying to stop her because she was breaking the law, to tell him to leave her alone. Now, these people have the audacity, okay? And she's just a true Karen. So I'm going to show you a video. It's the cop cam that stopped her. And essentially, she was driving home in a vehicle, and when they tried to pull her over for going more than 20 miles over the speed limit, she didn't stop, and she continued to drive home. And essentially, when they got home to her home, this is the video that was shown on the cop's cam, and I'll narrate over it a little, but let's just listen to the conversation.
What are you stopping her for?
She's going 55 and 35 on Phillips. She didn't stop at all. She decided to drive home. Called the chief, and this is where we're at.
Well, I know it's getting to be a big deal. Jeff's here, so let Jeff take care of it. All right, bye.
Hi.
Hi, I'll talk to Jeff. Jeff,
Okay.
I was just on the phone with the chief.
Okay. I'm the supervisor with her right now, so.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
I didn't want to pull over on Phillips Road. It was just, I figured I'd just pull into my driveway.
Okay. Well,
And I called Dennis and I said,
okay.
that's me that they're trying to stop.
Okay.
So that's the end of story.
Okay.
Okay, now she just said, yeah, it was me. I know you were trying to stop me, but I didn't want to stop. So end of story. Now, this is the DA who's supposed to be in charge of prosecuting other crimes, yet she's committing a crime and she thinks it's no big deal. That's one thing. Now let's listen to the what the cops have to say in response.
But you should know better, right?
I was speeding. I know that.
Okay. So why didn't you just stop like you're supposed to?
Because I didn't feel like stopping on Phillips Road
Well,
at 5:30.
that's not your choice. You know that.
Well, I made it my choice.
Okay. Well, now you made it a bigger deal than it needed to be.
It's a really bigger deal. And when people start coming, it's a much bigger deal.
Well, you caused that, Sandra. Well, what do you want us to do? Not do our job because it's you?
No, it's fine. I said, write me a ticket. But I was just saying, I was not going to stop at Phillips Road at 5:30.
Okay. Well, you broke another law because of that, right? And you should know better. That's not a traffic ticket. That's an arrestable offense, Sandra. You know this.
Okay, now let's stop it right there. Now, if it's an arrestable offense, Sandra, and y'all know that, she knows that, why the hell is she still standing there? Why didn't you arrest her? This is why people continue to do what they do. People like this Karen, people who think they are above the law, because when they butt up against the law and they do something wrong, y'all don't do anything. Law enforcement, who should have put her ass in handcuffs and took her downtown and let her sit there like regular folk have to sit there, then she would know better. And we already know if it was a black person, they would have pulled out. It was at least 3 cops: the one who tried to stop her, the supervisor who had to be called, and some other third dude. They all would have their guns out, drawn, because they would have claimed, we don't know who you are, we don't know where you're going, we don't know what you got in the car. They would have come up with all these. In this case, I would say, yeah, that person should have stopped, and she should have stopped, but she didn't. And she's saying, I just didn't want to stop. Well, y'all just should have put her in handcuffs. It's kind of like when if you've ever had a child, let's go back to that. If you've ever had a child and I know what my mama used to say to me, where you act up is where you get your ass whipped. Okay, we ain't waiting till we get home, because where you where you misbehave is where she gonna misbehave on me. So you probably did the same thing or had it done to you. They should have put her ass in handcuffs right where she didn't stop. Or if she didn't stop, and because it was a criminal, it was a what's the word? Not a chase. It wasn't a felony offense. Okay, so she drove straight home. The minute she got out of the car, I would have snatched that damn phone out of her hand and put her in handcuffs. And then she would have been waiting till my supervisor showed up. Okay, anyway, let's continue to listen. It's an 18-minute video, but we're not going to listen to the whole video. And if you want to, you can go on YouTube and find it. We're just going to go over the few little parts.
What do you want us to do? Not do our job because it's you?
No, it's fine. I said, write me a ticket. But I was just saying, I was not going to stop at Phillips Road at 5:30.
Okay, well, you broke another law because of that, right? And you should know better. That's not a traffic ticket. That's an arrestable offense, Sandra. You know this. Why would you not just pull over? You made it a bigger deal than it needed to be. And you knew why you were getting stopped, clearly.
Clearly.
He could have stopped you, had a conversation with you, and been done with it. But now you made it this whole big deal. For no reason.
She thinks it's funny.
Did you provide him your license and registration?
Yeah.
Okay. You have her ID?
I gave it back to her. It's attached to the job and everything.
Okay.
I didn't want to stop at Phillips Road. I was right down the street. I figured I will just stop in my driveway.
And so she continues.
I thought it would be easier.
Easier for who? Easier for who? Easier for you, because it's all about you, Karen, DA. Okay, so so anyway, they go on, and now they're discussing back and forth. Should we give her a ticket or should we not give her a ticket? So they're already showing favoritism towards her when she clearly don't give a damn about them. Okay, so they should have put her in handcuffs. And if you fast forward to the end of the video, they ended up giving her the citation for 20 miles over the speed limit. And then she says at the end of the video, well, I guess I'll be prosecuting myself. So clearly she's showing that is a sign that she's saying, I'm just going to let myself off. I'm just going to pay the fine, and that's going to be the end of it. But if it was anybody else, who they would have been charged. They would have been charged with failure to stop, and they probably would have put on, what's that they say, impeding arrest or whatever. They come up with all these things. They throw a whole bunch of stuff on the charges, so at least one or two of them will stick. You end up having to pay a whole bunch of money, and maybe some weekends in jail or probation or whatever. But because it's Karen the DA, then she gets to just drive home and let herself off. So if you know anybody who lives in Monroe County, New York, and Webster, New York area, let them know about this video, and tell them they need to call and see what can be done to get Karen. Her name is Sharon Dorley. DA Sharon Doyle, get her replaced or something. Now it is under investigation. She is being referred to New York DA Letitia James at this point, who is now going to do some type of investigating. And when they say, "Oh, we're going to investigate," I'm like, "Well, we see what happened. Like, what is there to investigate?" But officially, I guess that's what they have to say. So they're turning it over, asking Letitia James, the DA of New York State, to investigate. And so again, if you know anybody who lives in the Webster, New York area, Monroe County, New York, let them know that their DA, she shouldn't even be allowed to prosecute anybody at this point, because clearly she is liable to show bias. If it's somebody she knows, she's probably not going to prosecute them as harshly as she would somebody who she doesn't know. And you might say, well, that's how it goes until it's your son, your daughter, that she's over prosecuting, and then it's a problem. So if it's going to be a problem for you, if it's somebody then you might as well make it a problem for everybody that you don't know. You want to be treated fairly, whether you know the person or not. The law is the law. And so that's what's going on. Her name is Sandra Dorley, and let them know that at this point, I will add this. The next day, she came out and apologized and said how sorry she was. She shouldn't have done it. We know you shouldn't have done it. So I don't know about y'all, but I get sick of hearing people apologize for stuff that clearly they know and they shouldn't have done, and they're grown enough and mature enough to have not done it. So it's like, why are we right here? You're not 5 years old, you're 55 years old. Why are you acting like you're not in control of your behavior? Because you are in control of your behavior. So yeah, she apologized, but if I had anything to if I lived in that area, I would not just be accepting an apology from her. And so it really, it just comes down to people expect for when it's not them or not somebody they know, they want the full extent of the law to be brought down on that person or those people. But when it's them or somebody who looks like them or somebody they know, then they want for the legal and justice system to be lenient. And that is what is wrong with our criminal justice system, because clearly these police officers showed, and I get it. They know her. They know she's the DA. But when clearly she shows a blatant disrespect for the process, then we're going to take you through the process, because everybody else has to go through that process. So yeah, that's what I think about that. So I don't know how you feel about going back to the campus protesters, and maybe over this weekend they might, come up with something else to think about. When I was in college, we did those things. We protested. We sat in at the president's office or the student union, and for issues that we cared about. That is a part of being a college student and getting involved politically and understanding that there's more than is what's going on in the world besides what's going on around you, that we are interconnected and you have to care about other people, even if you don't feel strongly about one way or another about Palestine or Israel. During the protests of 2020, with the modern day lynching of George Floyd, and there were massive protests around the world, not just this country, but around the world, there were people who were not directly involved with that, were not a part of our culture, but they saw that the injustice, and they participated and they spoke out. So when you see that, and you see now somebody else in another part of the world is having an issue, the same type of issue, then you can't help but have empathy for what they're going through. And sometimes, even if you're not directly connected or directly affected, or you might be indirectly affected, you feel some kind of way where you need to show support for just what is humane and what is just and what is right. And so, yeah, sometimes that's how life works all the time. That's how life works. So, at any rate, that's what's going on. And so, again, I do want you to make sure that if you know anybody in the Webster, New York, Monroe County area, this DA, Sharon Dorley, who did not stop for police officers who were trying to pull her over, and had the audacity to be on the phone with the police chief while they're trying to pull her over, telling him, hey, they're trying to stop me, but I'm not stopping. Tell him to leave me alone. What? Yeah, she would have been in handcuffs. I would have, anyway, I ain't gonna tell you what I would have done. But anyway, it'd have been on my cop cam. So anyway, to find out more about the things that I care about, you can go to the written version of my journal. That's at eurweb.com.